Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a bit tired.
Pura vida?
Para vida, akashete mai. Akashete mai.
The number of times I heard you say that in Costa Rica has to be north of 100. Has to be.
They loved it though as well. They'd say it back. It was like a local saying that nobody really knew, that the tourists would say Pura vida, but then the locals would say akashete mai.
I think they loved how excited you were to say it.
No.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, you're an exciting guy to be around, Tim. Tim, today we're going to talk about a subject right now in the brotherhood and the inner circle. They get, so the guys that are in our 1-year mastermind programs, we have the brotherhood and we have the inner circle. And these guys get a new masterclass, 4 weeks training, take a week off and they do another 4-week training. These are master classes. And part of a masterclass that's being led to these guys right now is how to identify and handle shit tests. Now, sorry if the kids are in the car, guys, you can also call it a fitness test. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I know a lot of people don't prefer not to use that word, SHIT, but we're going to use it in this podcast quite a bit because that's what it's most commonly referred to. So again, they call it shit tests. And what we're going to go over in this podcast are some of the elements of what is a shit test and how, if you stick around, we're going to show you guys how to identify one. Because really the truth is, until you know if you're getting a shit test, you can't do anything about it. You just can't, And so the first thing is knowing you're in that process. And when we did this training for the guys in the brotherhood and the inner circle, I had the guys raise their hands. There was a big group of guys that were on video. I said, raise your hand if, you've never encountered your wife giving you a shit test. Not one hand goes up. Yeah, because you're not married. But so that's the key, right? We all go through this as men. So first, what I want to start this off with, Tim, is just what is a shit test? Let's go over a definition, right? So we're all on the same page. And I have a couple on the training that I did, different definitions, but I'm just going to go over one for this call, not this call, this podcast. And this is the one I pulled out of the Urban Dictionary, right? An online dictionary. And it says a shit test is a manufactured grievance. That's key right there, manufactured grievance. A woman uses to test the mettle, competence, and confidence of her mate. It is an intentional provocation accompanied by an implicit and subconscious desire that the man put his foot down, set reasonable boundaries, and demonstrate that he will not be bullied, nagged, shamed, or guilted into submission. Its purpose is to confirm to her that he is capable of doing what needs to be done to provide for and protect her and her children. The subconscious thought process is, if he can't stand up to me, then how will he be able to deal with the cavemen down the valley who keeps us up all night revving their motorcycles, let alone help bring down a mastodon or fend off a saber-toothed tiger? So part of the keys here, right? One, it's a manufactured grievance. Okay. That's something we all need to know. She's making this up because there are real grievances that you get to know the difference. 2 is a lot of women are doing this subconsciously. What a gift. They don't know they're doing it. And part of the reason they're doing it is they're testing, right? They need to know, are you good enough? Are you good enough? Can you handle me? Because if you can't handle me, then, right, how are you going to be able to handle an intruder into our home? Or how are you going to be able to handle my emotional fluctuations if I really surrender into my femininity, into the goddess that I know I am? And I want to bring that inner freak out in the bedroom, right? Or anything else you might be thinking. If you can't handle me now in this shit test, then how can you handle me then? And the answer to her is you can't. So then the woman has to rise and take the leadership role, take the alpha role, thus making the guy the beta. And this happens so often as guys don't realize it's a shit test. It's a manufactured grievance. They think it's a real grievance. They respond, they go into deer mode, they defend, explain, excuse, or react. It's the acronym for DEAR. And they go right into this and they fail the shit test and their wife has to take over. Here's something that's also interesting, as most men don't realize, is that a shit test is also a way that women flirt. Women will flirt with shit tests. And if you think back to your dating days, boys, when a woman would give you shit and you would give it back to her, now you were in the method of flirting. Back and forth, like a tennis, like balling the ball back and forth. But what's happened is we've gotten married, we've linked ourselves to one woman. She tests you. Instead of flirting, you take it as a real grievance. You go into good guy mode or deer. You become deactivated and you fail the shit test. So how do you know if it's a test, Tim?
How do you know if it's a test?
Yep.
Thinking about Amelia. Fucking hell. Amelia and I.
Hi, Amelia, if you're watching this.
Yeah, that one word, it's manufactured. I'm like, oh my God. Thanks. So a lot of the times for her and I, it's the energy that comes with it as well. And also I know where I've been at as well. I know if the thing she's pulling me up on is actually reasonable or whether she's just, doing a thing that she likes to do. So yeah, I'd say for me, it's those two things that stand out. But maybe, enlighten me. I'm totally open to being enlightened.
You are an enlightened being. Well, here are a couple. I'll just pull up a couple for this particular podcast episode. But one is when she tries to one-up you, right? That's a common thing I see, especially with dominant men who are naturally dominant in business and have been successful, is their wife will try to one-up them in some area of their life. Now, it could be parenting, it could be the bedroom, it could be the income, whatever it is. She may try to one-up you. And that's a shit test on how you respond to that. Another one that's more common and harder for most guys who are just starting out with this, who are in the deactivated mode, to really recognize is when she frames you in a lower status. Now, here's the thing. She could be framing you in a lower status to her, right? In other words, you're lower than her, but also she could be framing you in a lower status to other men. Look at him. He's really strong. He, does this, or look at him. He's an amazing. Jack's dad, took work off to take him to the baseball game or whatever else it may be, right? That's a shit test. She's seeing how you're responding, right? Or you never take time off with our kids. Jack's dad always does, right? She's framing you in a very much a lower status. Could be about income. Could be about all kinds of things. Here's a third one. I'll give you guys 4 for this podcast, and we can create a whole directory as the guys have on our private community, if you want, in the public community on different ones. But when she asks you an open-ended question or makes a statement related to the way she feels, right? She could be just throwing it out there as a softball, to come in to see how you react, or if you react to the way she feels, or if you come running to save her, right? Because your status is lower, therefore you're the servant. Fourth one here is when she calls you out in front of others. This is my least favorite one. I see it almost every time I go to a barbecue or, in a public event. I used to see this all the time at charity events when I used to go to those when I lived in Santa Barbara. I don't go to them as much here where I live. I'm not as tapped into the community, but I saw them all the time. And they're basically emasculates the man. So let's talk about a couple of those, right? I'm sure, Tim, you've seen a few of those that come through. And I'll mention a few other examples of these tests that guys could see. So guys, as you're listening to this, what I want you to think about are how, if any way, these have played out in your marriage or your relationship. And are they playing out now? And I'm going to give you a couple examples of different types of shit tests that are there. In fact, I'll give you one now and, just kind of think to yourself, okay, I do this, shoot. Right. This one's called the compliance shit test. And I've talked about this in other ways on a podcast with my wife and another woman on the couch asking for chocolates. But this one goes like this. Let me set the scene for this one for you. And Tim, jump in at any time if you've had any experience with this. I certainly have. You're both watching TV, right? That's the scene. You get up to go to the bathroom. She says, hey, bring me a glass of water. You grunt, okay, in response, and open the bathroom door. She says, no, give me the water first. You always take forever in there. You roll your eyes and grab the glass of water and bring it to her. She eagerly grabs it, then says, "What, no ice?" So have you ever experienced anything like that, Tim? Not with Amelia, of course, but
Well, it's been tried a few times with Amelia, but it does not work.
yeah.
I no. I
I've fallen
mean,
prey to this more times than I can count, right? I've failed this shit test, especially early on. Because there's a difference when it's like, hey, you're up. Would you grab me a glass of water? Cool, right? The difference here is obviously the way that she handled it. No, do it, get my
mhm,
thing first. Oh,
mhm,
no ice, negating the fact of what he did.
mhm.
And the guys are finding that this one's probably the most common, right? It's the compliance shit test. And this is where women will say to other women, if I wanted someone just to listen to me and obey me, I would have gotten a dog. They don't say that to you as a man, but this is what they'll commonly talk about behind the scenes.
Mhm.
All right, let me give you another example, right? This one's called the disregard for your request shit test, right? So this is where she's disregarding your request. And I'm going to use the scene of a concert as an example here. So you're going to see a concert and the opening act is one of your favorite bands from your childhood. You really want to leave the house by 7 p.m. so you can get there in time to see them. She spends all day running errands, mostly shopping with her friends, and walks in the door at 6:15. She says, "It won't take long for me to get ready." You nervously fidget, you grab your keys, you're pacing back and forth, waiting for her while she takes 40 minutes blow drying her hair, getting her clothes and putting her makeup on. You finally get in the car, leave the house, and you put your foot on the gas going 90 miles an hour to try to get there in time. She tells you to slow down. So you snap back at her defensively and tell her that, it's because she's late. And then she looks back at you and says, "Well, I was late because I was buying you your stupid closet hangers. Oh, and sorry, I care about looking good. Next time we go out, I'll just go out and wear a ripped t-shirt like you." So this is one, and Tim, you just did an amazing masterclass for the guys on boundaries, right? And creating boundaries. This is a disregard for your request or disregard for boundaries, where the woman simply shit tests you to see if you will actually hold to your word.
Mhm.
Now, a common thing that guys might do in this situation, just so the guys give these guys a little insights, we have guys that have done this, is they'll get in the car and just drive and leave without their wives. "Hey, I'm going." And some of these guys have had amazing turnarounds in their marriage just with doing this. "Hey, I said we're leaving at 6:45. It's 6:50 or 6:45. I'm out the door." And they'll start going and their wife will catch up. I know we give a couple more here. Here's the terrible generalization shit tests, right? And this is one that my wife tries to throw my way from time to time. Her friend is performing, your wife's, at an open mic night at a venue across town at 6 p.m. Your wife wants to go. You don't really want to because, one, you'll have to leave work early. It'll still take an hour to get there because of rush hour traffic. And you've seen her friend perform, and well, let's just say she's pretty terrible. You say, "I think I'm going to pass." Your wife flips out and says, "You never want to do anything fun anymore." Then, before you can defend yourself, right, which you don't need to do, she spews a laundry list of other recent events that you did not attend. You defend yourself with your laundry list of recent events that you did attend, despite not being particularly keen. And she just sighs, rolls her eyes, and walks away saying, "You just don't get it." Right? This is where she's lumping a generalization at you based on other things. Now, this happens a lot, right? Especially when a guy comes in and tries to set a boundary and the woman changes the subject and says, "Well, you know what?" I'll use an example. Maybe she could do something like changing the subject if you say, "Hey, babe, you didn't do the laundry. You said you were going to do it." Right. And she says, "Well, you didn't take out the trash." Whoa, those are two different clauses here. We can talk about your clause later about the trash, but first, let's talk about the laundry. The generalization shit test is where she takes something she's complaining about, manufactured, and puts a radical generalization about other things in your life going through. Tell you what, I'll do two more here, Tim, and then we'll jump on to discussion. We'll talk about these so these guys can start seeing them. Here's the one I hate the most: the public emasculation shit test. So you're both at a barbecue hosted by some friends. I've seen this one so many times. All it takes is someone mentioning something about taking a wrong turn while driving, and then she's off, right? She says, "You're terrible at directions. This one time on vacation, we got so lost, it took us 2 hours just to find our way back to the hotel. Luckily, I was navigating, or he'd probably still be out there." The group gets a laugh and you get a chuckle, but you wonder why she needs to mention that story every friggin' single time you're out there. You try and point out that it was actually her that was navigating, and she looks at you and says, "Stop being a big baby." More laughter from the peanut gallery, and you lamely laugh to pretend you're being a good sport while nobody notices you crushing your beer can in your hand. Now, I see this one happen more times than I can count. It literally happens almost every time at a public social event. Right now, I have kids, so our social events oftentimes are with the parents of other kids, and I feel for the poor guy that's getting this, right? And you can just tell he's been emasculated so much that he's so deactivated, right? He's so in deer mode, he just doesn't know what to do. Oftentimes he'll walk off, he'll go do something else, right? He'll go get another beer, he'll go do something, but you can just tell his head's hung low and his head's down. It's horrible to see. The last one I'll give you guys is the cock teasing shit test. And so some of you guys that are in dry bedrooms experience this one. It's when your wife sends you sexy texts, right, all day, and you're implying that she's just as horny as you after not having sex for a week or so. You get home from work, you kiss her and you hold her in a deep embrace. Things are starting to look pretty good for you, right? You start taking steps to get more intimate. She says, "Wait, I'm hungry. Let's have dinner first." So your romantic moment is interrupted as you slice onions and dice tomatoes. Then you sit down to eat. You suggest picking up where you left off with your intimate moment. Then she says, "I'm so full. Let's watch some TV first." You just barely hide rolling your eyes, and you settle in the couch with her. Around the time that the show is going on, your wife asks you for a foot massage. You comply. Okay, that could be the compliancy shit test, guys. Just watch out for that one. But you do. And as you're watching the show, you're watching for the 100th time, you proceed to move up and start undoing her bra under her shirt. Your wife says, "Wait, come on, let's just finish the How to Get Away with Murder," right? That's the show they're watching. You sigh, you get up to do something else. Your wife sneers, "Oh, I see. If we don't have sex, you don't even want to touch me." This is the cock teasing shit test. Tim, now I know you're being quiet over there and let me talk about these things. Have you seen any of these with any of the guys?
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot. I mean, I used to see a lot of these in my old relationship, and some of them were boundaries too. And that was kind of a toxic relationship in the sense that the shit test, like I said, would very easily, frequently, and often spill over into a boundary being crossed. Right? It's one thing being able to stand solid through the shit test and just give a firm glare or whatever. It's another thing if, in my opinion, if the woman keeps on, like the public emasculation piece, right? That was one of the final straws for me in my old relationship. There were many things that were going on there, but I remember walking into this party this one time, and back then I was a trainer, and one of the people there started to ask me how to get into shape or something around fitness, right? And she goes, "What are you asking him for? He doesn't have a clue what he's talking about." And just goes off on one. And I didn't even say a word. I just looked at her. I looked at the other person, which happened to be a female, and I just walked away. And then the other person came up to me and said, "Wow, what's wrong with her?" And I said, "Look, it's just the way she is." So yeah. The question, do I see it with the men? Yes.
Yeah. So, guys, the reason we're going through this is your first step is identifying when you're in a shit test. So, the homework assignment I have for you guys listening to this is start writing them down, right? Write down when you get a shit test. What does it fall under? If any of the ones I listed or something else. Then, did you pass the shit test by being a wolf, or did you learn something? And what I mean by that is if you know you're in one, even after the fact, you're learning something, right? You're starting to identify, it's a shit test. She's testing me and I failed, so to speak. So what do I learn? And if you didn't pass, or even if you did, how could you have responded better? How could you have acted better? How could you have been more of a lighthouse, the wolf, rather than the deer? Bonus points. We're giving out bonus points today, Tim. Hope that's okay. Bonus points, guys, if you post this and share it with the other guys. Now, the men in the other group, right, the guys that are going through the masterclass, they're sharing and they're learning from each other. And the guys are sharing, oh man, I didn't see it coming. I had the shit test and I realized it after the fact. This is what happened. And here's how I would respond. And guys are going, oh, that's a great idea. But try this too. And they're getting better. Steel sharpens steel, right? And that's what this is all about. It's a brotherhood of men. It's a movement. It's a worldwide movement, the powerful man. And I want you guys to get the benefit out of it. So I can't see you guys right now because we're not live. We're not in a training. But I want you to do this right now. I want you to make a commitment to me, a commitment to Tim. All right. Man on man. Integrity is everything. Are you going to do this? Are you going to post, either in the free Facebook community, or if you're already in the movement, an alumni, you can post it in a private community of when you get a shit test, just this week, just the next 7 days or so from listening to this. I want to know, have you commit to it now, post that when you get a shit test, what was it? What did you learn? And guys, by getting the optics around this, I can tell you as a guy that just didn't know it was a shit test versus a grievance, it changed a lot of things for me in my marriage with my wife. I had one just the other night, Tim, about all the travel that we do, right? How hard it is you don't understand how hard it is for me to travel with the kids. And this is after, guys, I'm flying my wife and my kids with us to every event, right? They're going to get to go to the awesome places, Europe, right? We're going down to Mexico for a trip to take the whole team down. And then my wife threw a shit test my way, right? And I just watched it happen. It was like watching it in slow motion. It was beautiful, so beautiful. And I turned that shit test into intimacy and seduction. And that's what you guys are going to be able to do. And it's so much more fun on this side of the fence. You become activated. You embrace the wolf. My wife loves it so much better. She still gives me shit tests all the time.
God, I've been getting them since getting back from Costa Rica. I think they were getting stored up.
It is like they store them up, right?
There's a barrage of them. I've had a good pass rate. I've definitely not been perfect.
No one is.
But, I've had a good success rate. But even still, that's why it made me laugh at the beginning when you said manufactured. Thinking, fuck, manufactured. Thanks.
Yep. And
appreciate
again,
the gift in the manufacture. But it is great, right? Because, for me, man, it keeps me on my toes. If I didn't have these, and you want to have them as well, because if you get into a relationship where the shit tests stop, that's a warning sign.
Yes.
That's a sign that she can be checking out. So it's not about getting frustrated or wanting the shit test to go away. You don't want that. You want a woman that is going to challenge you because she is going to see the strength in you. She already sees the strength in you, hence why she's with you. And she's wanting to see that strength come forth. And one of the gifts that she can give you is by prodding you and poking you and testing that strength and that presence. Like you've been the lighthouse. You've been the lighthouse and been the wolf too. And been able to be playful and solid and just, to Doug's point earlier on, when you're able to handle them in this way. And look, it's not about imperfect 10 out of 10, but when you're handling them this way, 7, 8, 9 times out of 10, then it also paves the way for the freakiness elsewhere too.
Yes.
And more importantly, it's funny, I was on the TAM office hours yesterday and we got into the concept of respect. And one of the men was wanting more respect from his wife. And basically, she's not standing up for himself, in essence. And that goes with shit tests too. He'll fall into deer, right? So she doesn't respect him because he doesn't stand for anything right now. He's not taking a stand for one thing or another. He's wavering, right? And this isn't anything against this man. He's an amazing man. He's doing the work. He's recognizing it and he's improving. Awesome. And it's just taking time for his wife to see that because there's been such a history of him dreading the shit tests, seeing the shit tests as a curse versus an opportunity, because they are. Because as you pass each one of them and you remain solid, Amelia tries threatening me sometimes. "Oh, if you do that, I'll be so mad." Oh, I'm terrified. Oh, I'm terrified if you don't get mad. Like, well, that's what are you gonna do? What can you do to me? You can't do anything to me. Like, literally. But they love that. It kind of annoys her sometimes, but it's also the truth, right? So then, she enjoys it, and anyway, you get the point. So, yeah, I think a real just note from me: the shit tests are a good thing. Embrace them, laugh at them, do the journal exercise that Doug is suggesting here, get more optics on them, and enjoy them, because they ain't going to go away. And when they do, you've got different problems.
So true. So true. So, gentlemen, make that commitment. Tim, I know you have a call with the force of nature himself. So we're going to end that here, guys. Make the commitment. I want to see your post, guys. I'm going to be looking for them. You just made a commitment to myself and to Tim. And so I'm going to honor your integrity for actually taking action on this. And gentlemen, as we always say, in the moment of action, insight, take massive action. We'll see you next time on the Powerful Man Show.